It's just so they withdrew it.
Yes, they would do it. But the rest of it's all gone. The 18th of
January?
December.
Oh, December.
And in January, they withdrew the application. Everybody wants to wait and see what happened. And you file. Hey, here's Mark. All right. We made our quorum.
Good evening, guys.
Good evening, Mark.
All right.
Are you home? Mark?
I've got a place in Rhode Island.
Well, we got advertised this time, so he's kosher. I looked on the map, just what, about 2 blocks away from the water?
Yeah, it's a nice location because the beach is not far and the marina is even much closer.
Do you have a boat up there?
I did, I just sold it, so I'm kind of looking for another one. We had a kind of a beat up lobster boat, myself and my son-in-law. And I got tired of fixing it, so I got to find something a little more reliable.
Kathy,
Hi.
Hi, Kathy.
Bruce.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi. I'm all swollen still, so
well, I was just gonna ask you,
From-
how the mouth is doing.
I had that root canal which got infected, so I'm not doing too well, but okay,
What?
people are starting to log on because people were texting me saying they can't log on, so,
Well,
but I think they're starting to now, so.
their problem was Zoom suggested that.
Hey, Bill. How are
They
you?
only post the link a few hours before the meeting because of all the bombing that's been going on.
Hey, Bruce, I don't know if you can get the mic a little closer to you, but you're probably the hardest person to hear.
Yeah, there's a lot of people getting invalid number.
If they go to the website, and then go to,
Yeah, they're going through the website.
No,
All you gotta do is go to the posting for this meeting on the 20th.
yeah, not the one on, so there was a different link which should have been removed. They're probably using the old links. They have to use the one that's specific for this meeting under news and notices.
Right, okay.
sit over here, so I'm not talking to the screen.
Yes.
I think better now that you've moved it.
Is the volume up all the way? Is that what the blue dots are saying? I believe so. Okay. Yes.
I think just maybe with the monitor in front of Bruce, sometimes it's just
Uh,
too muffled.
I moved over and hopefully that helps.
It does.
Well, we should be able to move that right off there and put it right in front. That's true. Because we have to be on there, doesn't it? See if that helps.
Is Janine Fogarty gonna be?
Janine will join us late. She's at a ambulance meeting. She's on that board also. They started at 6:30.
Okay.
Well, I used to be there too. Getting it?
Pardon? Got about a minute to go here. Got Carly on. Mr. Noto said he would be here live. Had a nice dog.
I didn't see him today. I met his dogs.
I met the dogs across the street. I was a little nervous there.
The dogs across the street were greeting me, but I talked to him. He's a canine officer.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Lives with him.
He's got a big German shepherd.
got a couple of shepherds. Yeah.
Good evening, how are you?
That's why I see the state tournament.
Frank? What breed of dog is your dog?
Malinois. Oh,
I knocked on the door. They answered.
yeah. So is that your dog or is that the department's?
It's the state's dog, but they stay with me,
That's his partner.
the partner.
Just one of the dogs?
No, 3 others.
No, I'm referring to which is only one the state's dog?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Aaron and Chris, yes, with no L's.
Correct.
Oh, and the OH.
No H
Okay.
and I C O L.
Hello? All right, it's past 7 o'clock. I'm late in starting, so I apologize. This is the planning board of Sodus Point. We do have a quorum. We have 3 members, which is over half of the, oh, I'm sorry, we have 4. Mark is zooming in. He advertised his address in Rhode Island, so he will be allowed to vote. Kathy is with us, but she did not advertise her location, so she will not vote.
There you go.
Nicole may join us later. She's at another meeting for the Sodus Point ambulance service. So this meeting was posted in the Wayne Times and posted in the village website. Unfortunately, my first business before we review the minutes of the meeting from February 5th is there was a clerical error and Mark's address was not posted online for the last meeting, so we have to strike his votes. It doesn't affect the outcome of any of the votes since they were all unanimous. But Linda will have to strike those for us from those minutes. That's why I want to point out that it was advertised this week, so Mark will be voting. So if the members will review the minutes from the last meeting and make any suggestions or
Mr. Chairman, it's a moot point after what you just said, but I did not vote on the carry application. I recused myself from that.
yes, you did.
I think the minutes reflected I voted aye.
We'll take care of it. Thank you, sir.
I don't have any other suggested edits.
I don't either.
All right, then may I have a motion to accept?
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
With the changes.
With the changes. Yeah, I'll second that.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Right,
I,
Those opposed? The minutes have been approved. Linda, after you make those changes, if you'll send that to Tracy.
Take
or
marks.
Tricia. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, our first application is the pews. Are they online?
I'm still trying to work that out with them. I've emailed them the link and I've sent it to their phone. It doesn't look like they're on right now. So I'll keep working on the backside to get them on.
Well, then we'll slide down to Mr. Denodo, who's requested a 6-foot fence. If you'll step up and tell us, give us your name, address, and what your project is, please.
Frank Denoto, 7448 Seaman Street. Just trying to build a 6-foot fence in the front perimeter, the south end of the residence to just keep the dogs from barking at the neighbors, prevent some noise, a lot of distractions, a lot of children on the street. Just a little extra security for the working dog with the kids in the neighborhood.
Okay, I'm assuming that your working dog could easily jump a 4-foot fence.
Yes.
I thought so. So,
Just curious, then would the state recommend this for that particular dog in that particular location?
Yeah, they put all precautions into our hands. So, you know, like I said, with the kids running around, you always want to come up and pet it. I think a little more deterrent would be a little more ideal.
Right.
You know, I've asked them to, you know, kids are going to be kids. You know, they run around waving sticks and that, and driving their 4-wheelers and bikes, and they're still going to go outside and do their, you know, can't keep them inside.
Right.
But yeah, I think just with what I have across the street, it'd probably be a little more ideal to with her in the yard especially. Little extra preventative. Instead, just the barking alone, it's just they're not barking, driving the neighbors crazy.
Right.
and it's your intention to leave the old chain link in place?
Yes. Yeah, just like I said, it's just that having that second fence line, just extra precaution. And so we were having some weak spots in that fence. That's why we want to upgrade that. We'll keep that there for now. Possibly in the future, putting the 6-foot fence on the east side.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That doesn't give him an apparatus to climb on to get over the higher fence, does it?
No.
I'll just throw it out there. My real question, Frank, is are you going to maintain the gate in the front like it is currently?
Like, you mean like have access to it or?
Yeah.
No. So
Okay,
there's not
we're
gonna
opening.
be an access point there. That will be closed off.
Okay.
For now. Instead of when we think about the back side of the fence, I'll probably have to put an access point in it there.
Yeah.
any more questions?
Not for me.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a few questions.
Yes, sir.
I'm a little confused. What side of the property is the fence?
It's
It's the south,
south.
And a little bit on the east and west.
facing Macy Street.
The long side of the fence, Mark, is the side of the property that faces Macy Street. And then there's the 8-foot section is further down Macy Street. And the 24-foot section is the portion that fronts Seaman Street up to the corner of the house. that help?
So where is the fence going to be on Seaman Street? Is it going to go to the house,
Yes.
To the porch.
to the porch? So it's not technically in the front yard of the Seaman Street?
A small section is on the Seaman Street side.
Right, but it's behind kind of, if you took the house and extended the front of it down towards Macy Street, that's the line of the fence, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And the highway department's already gone over, taken a look at it, said there was no problem with it obstructing views.
And I don't know the history of the dog. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, yeah, I think you missed what we were talking about the dog itself.
He's, Mr. Bonotto is a state patrol and he, a canine unit. One of the dogs living there is his canine partner. And he wants to make sure that the dog and other people are safe. There are kids in the neighborhood and they want to come up and pet the dog and, you know, that could cause a problem.
Okay, well, I believe on a corner lot such as this, that you have 2 front yards. Kevin, is that correct?
Correct. And there's a 50-foot triangle that nothing can be over 2.5 feet. So we asked Highway to weigh in on it. That's where one of the variance portion comes in. The Highway had given their blessing. I know Chris, the fence installer, went up and talked to him. Highway sent back an email saying that they're perfectly content with the sight lines. They have no issues. And then that's one of the variance requests that'll go to zoning, is the height of the fence.
Okay. I guess, my response is that I'm really, really against 6-foot fences in front yards. But you have, in my mind, pulled it off the front yard of Seaman Street, and you have it still on Macy Street, but you do have this situation with it being unique in that it's from what I understand, a police dog.
Yes.
Correct.
Have you talked to your neighbors about this?
No,
You have received no opposition, no support?
I haven't spoken to him about it at all.
There is a sign there, isn't there?
Yes.
Notifying people that it's under review.
Mr. Chairman, what are we doing? Are we recommending the variance or are we approving a fence in a front yard?
This has to go to zoning.
I agree.
So we would recommend to zoning that it be approved, or we would recommend that it not be approved. We could recommend alterations. But at this point, we're just recommending.
I don't know if you know, Mark, but because you probably weren't able to actually visit the site, there's an existing 4-foot chain link fence in the footprint where this fence is going to be placed. So
right, I have looked at it, and I understand it. I just, I think for the neighborhood, it has a dramatic impact on the front of the home on Macy Street, having a 6-foot solid fence. I think it's very unique in the fact that it's a police dog. And I understand the 6-foot versus 4-foot for that reason, although I would imagine the dog's pretty well trained. I'm reluctant on the recommendation for 6 foot, but you know, I will go along with the board. And whatever they do, I think that, you know, it would be nice if the applicant were to talk to his neighbors prior to seeking the variance.
More comments? Kathy, you have something you want to say?
Yeah, is this, the fence gonna be on the property line? Because looking at the map here, like I said, I would usually go out there, but I can't, but is it on the property line?
Yes, no?
No, it sits off.
I believe the initial fence we put in, we had it set back a little off the property line.
Well, when you say setback off the line, are you trying to say that the fence would be in the right of way?
No,
So the old fence is into your property?
Yes,
yes,
And how do you know that?
just from where the previous fence was placed at.
Hmm. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just looking at the map that was sent.
They had it zoned out, you know, placing it, they showed me the lines. That's why we had it set back to prevent any issues of questioning on the lines.
Well, there's property markers shown on this map. What is this map that's been enclosed?
Kevin,
1 sec. I have to pull it open. I was still
It
trying.
basically says large spike found and large spike found
Right.
showing the property line, so those probably can be found to ensure that the fence goes on the property line or on your property and not in the right of way. I'm sorry, I interrupted when Kathy was speaking.
No, you're saying exactly what I was trying to say because I can't talk that well. So thank you, Mark, for helping me out here.
I guess I would say a comment would be that the applicant should ensure the property corners are found and that the fence is
So
placed on the applicant's property.
that's a copy of the survey map that was given to me. It's just a zoomed in picture of it. Is what that is.
So if we could just, you know, add that as a condition of any recommendation that the
Yep.
fence be put on the property and confirmed
Yeah.
with the stakes, the spikes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
don't see that as a problem.
The highway department measured that as 33 feet off the road for the front.
Which it should be because it's a 66-foot right of way, so that makes sense, but if the old fence was put where it should have been on the property line, so that would put the new fence in the right of way. Do you follow me?
Well, I think your suggestion is,
Yeah,
is,
I just pointed that out.
is a valid suggestion, Mark.
All right, any other comments?
And I, just to reaffirm the one, I think for the neighborhood, because we're not the ZBA, but if we recommend to the ZBA that they approve it, you know, we're not looking at the standards that the ZBA should be going through, and these standards for the ZBA are indeed the impact on the neighborhood.
Correct. And at the ZBA, unlike here, the neighbors would, public's invited to speak. Kevin, Other than that sign that's sticking in the yard there, is there any other notification that goes to the neighbors?
Yeah, letters are sent out for the neighbors.
When do they go out?
They should be getting them this week. I always hope that they get them Thursday, Friday of this week, but usually they come in Monday of the meeting. It seems like that's what the normal complaint is. But I try and send them out the Thursday or the Friday of the notice. So I have to notify the paper on Thursday, try and get them out that Thursday or Friday at the latest on the Monday following.
But Kevin, sending notices out is not a law. That's just a courtesy,
Yeah,
correct?
correct.
Right.
I believe so. Yeah, we're not required to do it. I just do it because it's
Right,
all
right.
done. And then Mark Ketchum asked about signs because he saw them in other municipalities.
Mhm.
So we did that because people weren't. We've heard the complaint that we said we put it in the paper. Well, I don't read the paper. We put it on the website. I don't have internet. You know, we send you mail. I don't get mail. So we've done everything we can do to notify you.
It sounds to me like you've made reasonable effort.
Yeah.
All right. Before I ask for a motion, is there any more comments?
Does this get open for public comment?
No,
No, okay.
it will be for the zoning board though.
I'll move that we recommend the application to the zoning board, subject to verification of placement of the fence to be within the property boundaries.
Be within property.
To be within the property boundaries.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right.
Would within and on property boundaries would be the same in this?
Well,
I don't care if it's on or as long as it's within.
Right.
On is within, on is within.
all right,
Okay.
all right. Mark, how do you vote?
Yes.
Pete?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a yes. It's 4 yeses. It's to be sent. Zoning is meeting on what, the 25th? Is that correct?
A week from yesterday would be the 26th.
26.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at March, that's my problem. Okay, so you'll go to zoning next Monday. Then depending on how things go, you come back to see us. Okay.
I would also recommend that you knock on a couple of doors to the neighbors, so you've got that information in your pocket.
Certainly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Your first application is now on the phone, on Zoom, by the way.
Mark, Gossage, Bill McKee, Bill Tadley, myself.
Thank you.
Okay, Kevin, have you had any luck with the reviews?
Mhm.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes. This is Dick Depew, Kathy Depew. Sorry we can't see you, or but we
Okay,
do have a you now.
all right. Well, you want to, now, before we start, I just want to reference that you withdrew your application and now you've reapplied your application, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so we're starting with a clean slate here, since it's a new application. So would you like to tell us about your application?
Yeah, whatever I had, before, I don't have it in front of me, but whatever I had before is the same.
Okay. Now, I referenced back to our last meeting, which was December 18th.
Yep.
And at that time, we were asked to provide a few things.
And I had done that. Excuse me, I had done,
Just let me. Okay, we asked you to provide us with the name and certificate proof of who the trustee was, and you provided us with a Catherine Dietrich. Is that
that's
how-
correct.
Okay.
And what was her role again?
She is the trustee for the,
For the irrevocable trust.
right. Okay, that makes her the official spokesperson. Okay, so,
There's a second trustee as Sean Depew as well.
okay, well, Kevin, was that name given to us?
Yes.
Ask Kevin, please.
Yeah, I didn't know, and I wasn't part of that because I think that was you and Matthew getting that. So I didn't get that. No.
Okay.
I-
Sean's last name is Depew.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you. All right.
And is Sean a co-trustee, or is he the would serve in second position if Catherine were unable to serve? Is that, how does that,
No, it's
how's it set up?
either or. It's either or.
Okay.
Okay, so they're co-trustees?
Yes.
Now, as trustee, it was their responsibility to file this paperwork. They did not sign the paperwork, but let's go on anyway. As I said, this has to be treated as a new application. So you will need to resubmit that short form seeker. I know that you sent us one with the last, but since that was withdrawn, you need to resubmit that. And if you don't have a copy of it, Kevin can help you with that. The third thing was that there's a dispute over who owns that piece of property, the 20-foot wide piece. I know that you have a quit claim deed, which means that whoever signed it no longer lays claim to that. However, you were asked to provide a fee deed, which is the absolute proof of ownership. Have you been able to submit a fee deed to us?
I have a deed. I have a title. I have title insurance.
I
I've
know
had
you
14
have title
years.
insurance, but you have
Well,
you have to understand it is against the law for us to allow someone to put a fence on property that is not theirs. There is a dispute over the ownership of this property.
well, when, who owns it?
Well, that's,
You don't think-
that's what we'd like to know. I
No,
know you
I've
say
got-
I know you say you own it. I know that, the lawyers and, at least one title agency, believes someone else owns it. And we are stuck with the situation that we can't move on until we have some sort of verification. I'm not saying that you don't own it. I'm not saying that you do own it. I'm saying we need evidence.
Okay, do you have evidence that I don't own it?
You don't have evidence that I don't own it. That's not proof. I'm not here to argue with you, Mr. Depew. I'm here to ask.
Not arguing, but I'm just asking a question. If I don't own it, someone else owns it. If someone else owns it, you must have something that makes you believe they own it.
Well, I just told you that there's paperwork from a title agency that says someone else owns it. The lawyer.
And you had,
Yes, I have the letter from the title group. You were provided with one, I believe.
I don't have anything from them. And is there an app to support that?
As I said, I'm not here to argue with you. I just,
Not arguing, I'm just asking a question, sir.
I have asked you for a deed. That is what is considered proof of ownership.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
I guess what I think could help the situation would be if the applicant were to provide a survey and an abstract of title to the property prepared for him by his surveyor. The survey that's being utilized is not prepared for him, and it actually is prepared for the village for a different use and is not really intended for the use that it's being used. And I think that what the board and the applicant needs to see is a survey depicting his property and certifying to him that, you know, it's true and accurate and that there's been an abstract of title reviewed in association with preparation of that survey.
I know you know more about that than I do, Mr. Costage.
Mark, I think the issue is there's no disagreement that there is a right of way.
I know what the issue
Oh,
is.
we're not.
But I think what the village attorney is telling us is that there should be a deed showing that that right of way was deeded to the property owner.
Right, and that's why we want the abstract of title that will show that, and the surveyor then can prepare the map accordingly, and I think we're all on the same page. We don't have that.
True.
And without that, we can't act.
Exactly.
Well, personally, I feel for the Depews, honest I do.
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
But you know, we're bound to obey the law, and I can't do something until I know who owns the land. So what I would suggest, and I would ask Mark to make the motion, since his wording would be better than mine, that we table this until such time that the survey and Mark, could you make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we table the application subject to the applicant providing a survey from a licensed land surveyor and providing a copy of an updated abstract of title showing in the survey showing all encumbrances and easements and right-of-ways, and submit that for the board's review.
I'll second that.
I would, excuse
Mr.
me.
Key, I'm sorry, Mr. Cadley has seconded that. We'll take a vote now.
Just some technical things, like, should this application have as the applicant the trustees, the
Yes.
co-trustees,
Yes,
and should the trust be named as the property owner?
yes.
So that should be.
You're breaking up. Kathy, was that you?
Yeah, that has been established.
Well,
There's a
but
deed
your application hasn't shown that.
Again, the applicant needs to be the trustees, one or both of them. We'll need the short form seeker, and as Mark made the motion, we'll need the new survey and abstract. Okay,
excuse me, but I have a survey, I have an abstract, okay? I think whoever believes that they own the property should provide an abstract.
I think as
To
the
prove that.
applicant, you need to provide us with the proof of ownership. Nobody else needs to provide us anything. Whoever the applicant is needs to provide us with the proper application materials, and that would be a survey and an abstract of title reflected in the survey, ownership and all easements and right of ways.
all right, now we're going to vote. We have a motion that's been seconded.
We've been paying taxes
Pardon
on
me.
this land.
Pardon me.
Excuse me, can I say something? Why have we been paying taxes? Shouldn't you prove to us that we don't own the
Right.
land because we
You will
taxes
need to take that up with the tax collector. Bill, how do you vote?
I vote to table.
I'll second it.
Okay,
I vote for the, I vote for
okay, we got
the motion.
McKee and Kedley voting yes. Mark, you?
I seconded, I believe.
What?
You
Oh,
made
no,
it.
I made the motion. I'm sorry.
Yes, you did.
You still need to
Yeah,
vote,
I'm sorry. I vote yes.
and I vote yes. So it will be tabled. If you can get us that survey and abstract proof, then we'll be happy to take this up again. Thank you.
And I would say to Kevin, in working with them, you might, I think you should make sure that the application, when it comes in, shows the legal owner of the property as being the trust
And the applicant.
and the applicant being the co-trustees.
Yeah.
And the survey should be prepared for the applicant.
Yes.
Right. Don't bring us another one, Kevin, that's just a redo of the old one.
All right. Straubing, Charlie Straubing, I see you're on there. Would you like to tell us about your project, please?
Hi guys, the fence builder, Mike Collins, is going to give you a breakdown of what the fence is going to look like on the property. And then if you have any questions that I can't answer, that he can't answer, I am happy to answer those questions.
All right. Okay, where's Mike?
All that is true.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, everyone. So I believe we're looking for a variance for this fence because we want to put in a 6-foot privacy fence,
Yep.
approximately 390 feet. So we would go behind the property. So it looks like 123 feet with a 6-foot privacy fence.
Yep.
and then down the east and west side of the property.
Mhm. Now, from my visit there, there's already an existing wooden fence that runs along the north side.
Correct.
That belongs to the neighbors to the north, is that correct? Or is that Carly's?
I don't think it was because we had this issue when we approved.
I remember too.
Uh,
That's what I remember also, that it belongs to this property already.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so the wooden fence, is that Carly's or not?
Yes, I believe it belongs to us. Correct. It's on our property.
All right, so would you be replacing that or
Yes.
just covering it?
We would replace it.
Okay. All right. And you're stopping on the north side, I'm sorry, the east side, just about where the telephone pole is that correct?
Well, I can tell you it's a total of 163 feet and 4 inches. We're basically going to outline the property on 3 sides. And then if your drawing shows, we're also applying for a smaller fence within the property to go from the shed and along the driveway up to the garage.
Yep.
With 2 gates on it. And that would be a 4-foot aluminum fence.
Aluminum by,
Looks like wrought iron.
okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. I guess it's not important whether it's white or black, but want the record to show that Janine Fogarty has joined us after her last meeting. So she'll be voting on these issues that are still facing us. Okay. Bill? Oh, Bill? Any questions?
Mr. Collins, the picture that we were given of the proposed fence, I believe, that it doesn't, the picture isn't labeled.
That's
it. That's the old fence? Oh,
yeah.
okay. So the new fence is going to be what material?
It's going to be a vinyl material.
Okay. The 6-foot portion that is
correct.
A solid vinyl?
Yes.
Okay. And just from a visual, it appears there are many, many trees that are on the property line. What's your intention with respect to those trees?
Well, there's a couple here. There's some stuff that'll need to be cleaned up, but I don't know that, we're not going to take down any big trees. If that's what you're asking, I don't remember offhand if there were any in the way of this fence.
Yeah, the west property lines, well, as I say, it's a visual. I don't know exactly where the property line might lie, but there appear to be several large trees that could get in harm's way.
Well, if that's the case, I propose we would just move it, what we need to, whether if it's 6 inches or a foot away from that to achieve the to a straight line and not interfere with any of the trees.
I see.
Hey, y'all, sorry to interrupt. There actually are no trees in the way of where the fence is going. They are on the other side of a pre-existing chicken wire fence on the village's property.
Okay.
Okay. As I say, I couldn't tell exactly where the property line would be.
Totally. They've fallen over too, so it's very hard to see. They're a little dilapidated, those trees.
It's a little snow covered right now too.
Definitely.
Mark, do you have any questions?
Yes, what is the reasoning for a 6-foot fence?
That I think they're trying to maintain some sort of privacy for them and the neighbors.
Yeah, so partially on one side, just from the neighbors. And then on the other side, we border the village's property that is connected to Willow Park and the skate park. And we've actually had kids like walking up to our property up that hill. So just a little bit of privacy so we don't hear each other's conversations and see each other all the time.
Okay, well, you know, the code is there for a reason, to be 4 feet, and to obtain a area variance, there needs to be, you know, a reason. And the standards for the variance, you know, are set, and there's a bunch of them that, you know, your application will need to reflect to the zoning board. And we're making a recommendation to the zoning board, and I really haven't heard the standards met, but we're not the zoning board. Myself, I don't see a reason to put a 6-foot fence in a front yard. You know, I think that a solid 6-foot fence in a front yard sends the wrong message. And, you know, I myself could support a 4-foot fence when it's in front of the house, and, you know, the 6-foot fence in the rear. But I haven't heard a reason to support a 6-foot fence in the front, and I'm pretty opposed to that.
Well, Mark, the 6-foot fence that runs along the property line with the Fifners and what's the other property belongs to Fifners also. That's behind the house. In front of the house is a view of the bay. She's not putting the fence in front of the house.
When I define the front of the house as anything in front of the range line of the house. So the front yard is anything that's in front of the structure. So all that, where she has the 4-foot fence is fine, but adjacent to that, along the west and east property line, as this fence comes out beyond the house, that's in the front yard.
I'm sorry, I have a question. What was your reasoning for not having the precedent it's gonna set for having a 6-foot fence in the front of someone's property?
I didn't say a precedent, I said that I don't think that a 6-foot fence is appropriate in a front yard.
Has anyone ever been granted a 6-foot fence in the front yard? I would understand if it
But
was
you're-
on, if the front yard was.
Let's look at it
on
the other way.
road.
The applicant, you are asking for a variance. From
Correct.
code. Code requires a 4-foot fence. So code requires 4 foot all the way around. And you
Could
need a
you give
variance.
could you give me some examples then of when someone got a variance for a 6-foot fence? I mean, what are the
No.
requirements that we need to meet to get the variance?
Well, that's in the code book.
Well, okay,
Oh,
now let's move on.
Are there any neighbors on either side of the 6-foot fence?
Well,
I mean, I totally understand privacy, totally. I'm not
Okay.
against it because I know what she's going through. But I'm just wondering, are there any other neighbors?
well, you know, the Fifners, they're,
To the north.
What was the name of the restaurant that was in there?
Zeus.
The Fifners have what used to be Zoots,
Okay,
and then there's the housing unit that was immediately to the east of that. It's got all kinds of names, but the apartments there.
yes, okay.
they've got a 6-foot wooden fence that separates them. We've talked about this before when the Fifthers were
Right,
here.
right.
Okay. On the west side, you have a trailer, mobile home. And then on the east side, it's a drop off into Willow Park.
Again, the code requirement is 4 feet maximum
I understand that. She asked about
for a recommendation, and I myself have no problem with a 6-foot fence in the rear, but the front yard is defined as from the face of the building forward to the right of way or to the water, and I have not seen any reasoning to put a 6-foot fence in a front yard.
If
Ellie,
I may,
would you consider a 4-foot fence?
I think part of the idea here is that it's on the west side. It's not a neighbor. It's a business. It's a park, and I think they're trying to maintain some kind of privacy. And for what they have invested and what they're going to continue to invest in that property,
Yeah.
I don't think that they should have to look at the conditions on that side of the property as they stand right now.
Are
They're
you
not
saying
the
I'd rather
only
look at
the
a
one.
side or
fence.
the west
Not
side?
the only
whoa,
one.
whoa, one at a time.
The east side.
Okay, the east side is, as you indicated, down lower, so the noise and all that, a 6 or a 4-foot fence is not really impacting it.
Okay.
And again, I'm not saying that a fence couldn't be 6 feet. It's just not in the front, and to the front is towards the bay and towards.
Well, the towards the bay is being left open. Okay, Mark, we got your feelings on the 6-foot.
Right.
I want to hear from the rest of the board.
But Kathy Beretta asked the question to Ms. Straubing and Mr. Collins, would the applicants consider 4-foot fences on the two sides?
I would think, from my standpoint, it would have to be a last resort. I mean, this is the idea of the meeting is to get the variance for 6 feet. So we want that to be our first option.
Just one last thing, Mr. Chairman, if I can. I'm not saying the whole length. I'm saying the sides up to the face of the building extended out. So about a third of the way on each side, and then the entire rear would be a compromise that I could look forward to, and I'll be quiet.
A 6-foot fence, a third of the way down our property line on the east side would look worse than a 6-foot fence all the way stretching on the land. The fence is going to be beautiful regardless, of course. I'm just saying it's deterring kids from the skate park coming onto our property and also throwing things onto our property and whatnot. That's what the privacy fence is for.
Carly, can you and Mike see the screen? Are you both able to visualize the screen?
Yeah, like the Zoom chat.
Okay. All right, perfect. I'm going to share my screen because I think I can articulate what Mr. Costage is saying. So can I just put it into paint? So Mark, are you saying, can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
It's small.
he's saying, oh, it's small. Hold on. Let me zoom in. What I think he's saying is this front, and Mark, correct me, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I think he's saying the front of the building is somewhere in this vicinity here. So from this portion forward, he was asking that this portion over here would be 4 foot, and then this portion over here would be 4 foot, and the entire remainder would be 6 foot. I think that's what he was saying. I'm not sure. I just wanted to help articulate it.
Yes.
So I don't know what that
This
dimension
is
is,
consistent with what the board has done in the past.
and I don't mean to intervene. I just wanted to try and articulate it because
I
I
appreciate it, Kevin.
No, yeah, thank you, Kevin. I think
Mhm.
if you were to actually walk on the property, you would see that that would look very strange upon entering the property. But I mean, I understand that that's what the board has done in the past. Aesthetically, that would not look good.
We haven't heard from you, Janine.
I'm also concerned about the 6-foot fence towards the front of the house. And I like the compromise of doing the 4-foot and then 6-foot on each side towards the back. I think that's a good compromise for getting privacy. So being in line with what we've done before.
Okay. Mr. Kelly, what do you think?
I personally like the compromise as well.
Mr. McKee?
I would think the compromise would be a good way to go. It protects the homeowner from visually from being seen by the neighbors on those two sides. Still gives you the ability to fence off the remainder of that, even though it's not a privacy issue, but you've got nothing in front of you but the bag. So
All right,
it doesn't matter.
then may I have a motion, unless somebody's got something else to add in here?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What is the advantage to cutting the fence off short halfway down and having 2 feet less for half the length of the fence? What is the advantage of that?
It meets the code and it's visually more appealing.
But only that section would meet the code because the other sections are gonna be 6 feet. So aren't we gonna have to have a variance for those 6 feet? The rest of the way around?
That is clearly an option.
And you can ask for it at the zoning board.
Okay.
I think our recommendation to zoning would be to refer this to zoning with our recommendation that the 4 feet sections apply to the front of the house, and then the 6-foot sections apply the remainder of the fence.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. We'll start with Janine.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll vote for, yes.
Sausage,
Yes.
McKee,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, that's the way it'll be sent to zoning. You may make your argument for 6 foot all the way around there. But that would be our recommendation to zoning. That will be meeting from, well, a week from yesterday, the 26th. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That brings us to, one last time.
So the last time we were in front of the board, there were some questions about egress. And Kevin, are you able to show our slideshow?
Yep, pulling it up right now. Let's see.
Bruce, who is this speaking?
The Nichols,
Okay. Thank you.
that wasn't Bruce, sorry.
Doesn't matter, thank you.
Ventriloquist.
Everyone see that?
Yep.
Yes,
So Kevin, if you go to, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3. Start with the 4th slide, please. So just updated some of the information there. There was some discussion among the board last time about monitoring for fire, carbon monoxide, and our plan is to continue to have that monitored through ADT, which is what the previous owners had used as a service for that. And Kevin, if you go down to the floor plan slides. I marked all the doors. There are those little lines that took a lot of patience to get on there. FE shows where all the fire extinguishers are, and I put an E in front of all the egress windows.
Where is this additional bedroom space located?
That's by the pool.
On the ground floor? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And if you could, Kevin, could you go back to the second floor, please? You went by quickly as well. Thank you. And are there two stairways?
No, just the one indicated by the two lines.
By the double lines?
To the left of upstairs, den.
Okay. And all the egress windows on that second floor level exit to what? To a
They
drop?
would be down below that is a deck and walkway.
Okay, so it's a second floor window.
Yeah, possibly that one that's closest to the FE. That one is probably up beyond the walkway and deck. So that would go down to the ground level.
All right. So would you provide emergency ladders?
I think that would make sense to do that.
Are you required to have fire inspection?
I got the notice in the mail. I figured it was a fire inspection or request for information that was typical of for any private home.
As a B&B, are you?
Kevin,
I don't think so, but I'll let Kevin answer that.
can you answer Bill's question about fire inspection?
So he doesn't, it's not required unless he has common spaces, and then he just does the questionnaire that we send in the mail.
So no actual feet on the ground there?
No feet on the ground unless they request it. If they request it, then we do it.
And what's the issue associated with quote unquote common spaces? Just so I can understand.
Every 36 months, it's required by the New York State Fire Code for fire inspections of all common spaces. And then all assembly spaces have to be inspected once every year.
Okay, pardon my ignorance. Common spaces are what?
So that would be like if you have a laundry room or you have a gathering room, something that's a common space for like an apartment building, an Airbnb, or like a bed and breakfast. This is someone's home. So this is a single family home. It's not like a dormitory that we would inspect.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking at the upstairs den and thinking, isn't that common? But there's a distinction there. Got it.
Okay.
I also have copies slash.
I think we got it.
Paper copy.
We don't have the updated one with the extinguishers.
Okay, well, this would be that. And those would be on the back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure.
You want one here? I
Pass it down.
pass that through.
Thank
Here,
you.
I gave him mine. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Mark, any questions for him?
I'm all set, thank you.
Any from the rest? Kathy, how about you? You still there, Kathy?
Yeah, I had to go get something to drink. I'm sorry, Bruce.
All right. All right.
No, I'm good. Thank
All
you.
right.
And I raised a question toward the end of last meeting. I don't know that it has any relevance, but just as a point of information, is there an issue associated with maximum capacity of 10 or 12?
Honestly, I never looked at that.
Okay,
But again, I put 12 there. That would be 3 in each room, and that probably has never happened. But the realistic capacity is probably more like 8. 4 rooms, couple in each room.
Yeah.
Maybe get close to 10 if someone has a third guest on a roll like that.
my only point is awareness.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No questions.
Mr. McKee,
No.
Mr. Kedley anymore?
No more, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I'd rather get the questions asked. Okay, then may I have a motion that we approve?
Did you open it to public? Because there is public for the.
I apologize. Okay. Do you have any comments? Okay, people here in person don't. Online, if you're zooming in and you wish to make a comment, please do so. Hearing no comments, then we're going to close public comment. Now may I have a motion?
I'll move that we approve the special permit request for 7961 Lake Road to continue operation as a bed and breakfast under new ownership.
I will second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Let's start with you, Mark. How do you vote?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
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 yes, so it's a unanimous vote. Congratulations. Look forward to seeing you around the community.
Thank you for your patience.
How's the construction going next door?
Pretty good. They're close to being done.
Couple, yeah.
Yep, I think it's
Few more weeks
on the inside.
Yeah, good. Good.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. Good to see you again.
Okay, that brings us to Hodes. I know it's a pain being the last one on the.
Last but not least, and I promise nothing about fences.
Good. So state your name and address, just for the record.
I'm Eugene Ho, and my address in Sodus Point is 8606 Orange Street.
Go ahead and tell us about your project,
I'd
please.
like to build a garage. My wife keeps buying shoes, and I got one place to store them now.
You gotta go home now.
No, we're finding ourselves out here more, and I want to have a little garage. I can't make my cottage wider, I can't make it taller, and I just want some storage, so I want to build a little garage up front of my property.
16 by 36, correct?
Yes.
And I see you included windows, egress door.
There's actually 2 doors, but the pictures that are provided to you, I can pencil one in if you would like, but there's 2 main doors.
Okay. I'm assuming one's on the back side.
Yes, one's on the back side, and one would be on the east side.
Mhm.
And this is just a single story building?
Yeah, just an 8-foot building. Both my neighbors have 2 stories, and I don't want it, I just want it to
Okay.
be too big. I don't want it,
Okay.
I want it to look like it grew there. That's kind of how I am.
And it's not, it's just storage, you're not gonna have any living spaces in there or apartments or anything? Just shoes?
Maybe he might be living in there.
Yeah.
No, just,
As you said, you find yourselves out here more often?
Yeah. Home is in Newark, we're from Newark, but we're out here more, we're approaching the retirement. That golden number, and we wanna be out here even more, and it'd be nice to have a little more storage.
I can understand the need for storage. That was my first big project when I bought in here was the new garage.
Yeah, you will see on your, if you're looking at the survey map that's provided there.
Yeah.
I have a shed in front and outgrown the shed. So the shed will be removed as you will, if you're looking at if you don't have one, I do have a copy of the
Well,
survey map.
I've got copies here.
Okay, I gave one to Kevin.
Yep.
Or two. to Kevin.
He sent us copies.
Yes, the
Yeah.
shed will be removed.
I went out this morning to look at it. I had some concerns initially, with the neighbors' garage and setbacks and all of that. But, I had concerns about not being able to get emergency equipment down there, but the way it's laid out, there's plenty of room.
Yeah, it's open driveway on both sides.
Is that a shared driveway?
No,
No,
it's not a shared driveway, but our driveways come together.
right.
And the property line is actually right between the two driveways. And you're talking on the east side.
Yes.
On Karasinski's side.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a shared driveway. I mean, we share it, but it's not shared. The property line runs right between, and there is just about a little 4-inch piece of grass, weeds that run between our driveways.
Okay. And you said the overall height would be
8 foot.
8 foot to
8
the
foot
rafters or?
8 foot sidewalls.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just a single story.
Yeah. That was, the other concern was didn't want to see, it's getting harder and harder to see the bay as you're driving down there. So,
Yeah. Well, both of my neighbors to the east have big 2 stories. And I don't want that. I mean, once I get this little garage filled up, then I'll wish they did a second story. But that's here or there.
and then you'll go back and say, hey,
That's when we'll participate in the sales around the point, I guess.
there you go.
Get rid of some stuff, but no, I just want to keep it small, simple, and make it look like it grew there.
All right.
Is it your intention to remove the driveway, if you will, behind the new garage, between the garage and the cottage?
No, I'm gonna leave that there.
Okay, and would you intend to drive vehicles down to that area?
I don't know. I don't know at that point. I doubt it. Because I want to be able to park our vehicles between the road and the front of my garage.
Okay.
That's where I want to.
So that will be the intended parking area.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mark, you got any questions?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I guess I would ask what are the materials that are proposed for the structure?
It's gonna be a full building mark, all metal siding, all metal roof, all metal siding.
So like a corrugated metal type? I'm sorry, did you hear me? Like a corrugated
Okay.
metal?
You can't see him thinking.
Yes, just the regular metal, channel drain, if you will, it's called. The metal roof and metal sides.
So the garage is facing towards the street, the garage door?
Correct.
And then you indicated a man doors on what sides?
It's gonna be would be on the, I'll say the south side. On the gable end, on the south side, and then one on the east side, which faces the driveway.
Okay. Kevin, is there any issue with the openings proposed on the west side?
Yeah, and I've got to work with Dave Secor. He's who draws up Jeff Trenoise's buildings because these have to be stamp plans before final. You can't have any openings under 3 foot that are unprotected, and you also have to have fire rating, and Jeff Trenoise knows that.
So you wouldn't have those openings with 2 foot on the west side?
Yeah, correct.
I may have to forego my windows on the west side of the building.
I think if the building is going to be revised, we should see some dimensioning of the buildings and the materials and colors called out on the drawings. Have you talked to your neighbors about the variance?
I have not. They know, well, one, Karazinski's are in Florida. And I could reach out to Kenny. And my neighbor to the west, Monica, I can't think of her last name right now. She knows I want to build a garage.
I guess I would say that to support a variance, I would want to know that, you know, again, the standards are met and that the neighbors, if the neighbors are satisfied, that makes a big difference. You know, with regards to ingress and egress, I don't have a comfort level of what's being proposed. I discount the neighbor to the west, as they could put a fence up tomorrow along their property line, and that would no longer have any benefit to you unless you had some sort of ingress and egress easement agreement with them. And the same to the east. So now you're left with 6 foot to access your property south of this proposed building, which I think is really marginal, you know, for the future. And then you're also looking at a 2 foot variance or a 3 foot variance, which is substantial for a building. And, you know, I would have to know that the neighbors were okay with that to support it.
Right now, up in the front, if you would look at the survey map, the sheds that are in the front up by the close to the road.
I understand that's 1.4 feet off the property line, but it's much smaller.
Yes.
You know, it's pre-existing non-conforming that we have nothing to do with. What you're proposing now is a variance of 3 feet to your neighbor, which in a building that's 16 feet wide in what appears to be 24 foot wide lot, which is an awful lot. And I think it's too much.
Isn't it 2 feet, not 3 feet, or am I not seeing the same thing?
Oh, it's 2 feet.
Okay, 2 feet from the neighbor, okay.
From the west line.
Right, okay.
And I don't believe there would be a variance necessary on the east side. I could be wrong, but
No, I agree that that's not necessary, but I don't see how you're supposed to access your site once you're done here. I mean, it's one thing to have a existing home that you can't get by, and that's a common event in these narrow lots we have, but we're now creating a situation where you can't even get a vehicle to your home.
Guess I'm foregoing the thought of pulling a vehicle right up to the front of my house. Suffice either pulling the vehicle in my garage or in the driveway between the front of the garage and the road, and then walking. And if there's 6 feet on one side of my barn, I think I can walk in 6 feet on the side of my barn back to my house.
It's more, we're concerned about emergency vehicles.
Emergency vehicles, like Kevin was there and he knows that it's open, and Art Williams, I spoke with him yesterday, said let him know that it's open on both sides, so that fire rescue or whoever, ambulance, whatever, could certainly get back there.
I think Mark's concern is down the road, things change and somebody decides to throw a fence up.
Right, I get it. Yeah, I'm great with my neighbors now, but you never know, they might not be there forever, and I get it.
Kevin, what's the standard width of a garage door?
A garage door? I mean, it depends.
So
And double.
a double is typically 16.
But a single,
I mean, it all depends because it's going to be the width of a car. So, I mean, it's going to be between 10. It just depends what you're looking to do.
I was just thinking if the garage door was just a little small, we could make it a little more narrow, or suggest we can't.
That doesn't make the building any narrower though.
Well, the door didn't take up as much room, you could cut the dimensions.
Oh.
Okay.
I think if you could have an 8-foot opening and the support of your neighbors to the 2 feet, that would be a much more reasonable future protected application, such that, if some neighbor does put in a fence or both neighbors put in fences, you still have a car access or emergency and ambulance able to get in. I mean, it just seems like you're really slamming the door in the future.
Door on each end?
Well, that's something that could be, that certainly could be an option, at least, it's probably not practical once you fill it up with junk, which I'm not gonna say you're gonna do that, but, I might. But that's certainly an option. That I think is a good option.
Or an access door at the south end, as well as the access door on the east side.
Right.
I already have that.
He's right, got that.
It just doesn't show it on the drawing.
That's your 2.
That's my 2, one on the south side, one on the east side.
These are garage doors, you're saying, on both sides?
Oh, man doors, walk-in doors.
I'm saying if you had a garage door on each end, you've really opened the options up for vehicular access if it were needed in the future that, somebody applies a fence and you need to get in there.
Right.
Problem is with an 8-foot ceiling, I think our ambulance is taller than that. You probably know that. You just came from that meeting, right?
Yeah.
It is. All right.
I think that's an option, but I still am very much in favor of, if you're getting a variance for that big of a variance on the side, that you should have the support of your neighbor in writing.
Okay, how do I go about that? Just in person, ask her to,
Just a two-line sentence on a piece of paper, you know, I've reviewed such and such application and support the variance request.
We've had that done several times. Like they can email it, they can give you a hand.
I'm more than willing to do that, yeah.
I just think it at least, you know, we're not, that's really what you need for the zoning board. Just to let you.
I would.
Okay, just because I didn't know how a variance came about, if the zoning board approached my neighbor, or if I approach him, or.
Kevin notifies them that there's an application.
Okay.
But it always looks better.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
If you take that step. I would, normally I don't make motions, but I would motion that we recommend this if he has the support of his neighbors.
I would second that motion.
Okay. Mr. Gedling?
How about yes?
Mr. McKee?
Yes.
Mr. Costage?
I'll vote yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's a unanimous vote. So, like everyone else, on the 26th, you show up at the zoning and hopefully you get some letters or emails stating that your neighbor is going to either side or deal with it.
Okay, could I have I can get this from Kevin, an email address where I can have a neighbor send me okay.
Yeah, not a problem. It's on the website too.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
When the applicant comes back, I would like to see the building as he proposes it, you know, with the notation on the colors and dimensions. And I'd strongly suggest a garage door on the south side.
All right. Okay, well, thank you. So we'll see you back here after you go through zoning.
Okay, and the zoning meeting, is that right here in the same room?
Right here.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need to have public comment.
Oh, I apologize.
Can you wait just a minute?
Sure.
Would you like to comment?
No.
It's not about the shoes, she said.
Yeah, that's about the shoes.
All right. I still have two people online. If you want to make a comment about the whole application, please do so. Hearing no comment, I'll close public comment. And all right, thank you.
Hey, Kevin, I'm sorry, Bruce. Kevin, just as a point of information, one of the things that I found out about mailing from the local post office to local addresses is that if you just shove the envelopes in the mail slot, they get routed to Rochester. They don't get sorted out here.
Yeah, they all, according to Dar, and maybe it's different with the local post person down here, Dar said no matter what we do, they have to go to Rochester and then they have to come back, no matter what we do.
And that's why it takes so long.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
That's true.
Even if you hand them to the postal person.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, hand them right to the person. She has to send them to Sodus. Sodus sends them to Rochester. Rochester sends them back to Sodus, who sends them to Sodus Point, who then sends them for delivery.
I have gone down here, you know, things that are going in a PO box right there.
Just stamp it and put it.
We're not allowed to stamp them anymore.
That's just the craziest thing, isn't it?
It is. All right.
Efficiency at its finest.
I know it's getting on here, it's 8:30. I hope to wrap up at 1:41. I don't know if people wanna work on it a little bit or you're done for the day.
I'm up for it. I won't be here next meeting, so.
Let's do it.
All right. I sent out to everybody what had been agreed to and highlighted the things that we hadn't gotten to. So that would start about 141.9. We had talked about owner or tenant, LCR, WC, or I property that is used primarily for residential purposes for the storage of their personal owned watercraft. And we're, not taking Uncle Joe's and Tom and Sue's and we hadn't, that's about where we were breaking up with the internet going down and the bottom. Oh, all right. Let's pick it up there.
At that time, the suggestion was made, I'm just going back to the minutes, which are helpful. The suggestion was made that we perhaps augment that which is personally owned to include personally owned by the property owner and their immediate family. That was just a suggestion at the time.
Property owner or tenant?
Property owner, well, it would be the,
if I'm renting your house, I'm not the owner.
Yeah, so the
Tenant of record?
The occupant and their immediate family.
Yeah,
family.
that would work.
Yeah.
Okay, the occupant.
I'm not suggesting that that's necessarily a change. That was just where we were in the conversation. I thought it was a good suggestion at the time.
Okay. So it would, if we went with that, it would read that is used primarily for residential purposes for the storage of the occupant and their immediate families, watercraft and marine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Mark, Kathy?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, does immediate family mean my son-in-law and brother, Harry and?
Well, not if it's immediate.
Okay, well.
Immediate would be.
Is my daughter my immediate?
Yes.
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 So, okay, I'm game. It's just, I think it opens up to be more ambiguous to enforcement. All I can keep thinking of is when I look at this is it enforceable? And every time we add a couple of words, it adds a real ability for certain segments of society to manipulate. So I'm fine with it, but I just don't want to stretch it too much for interpretation.
I don't disagree with your point, Mark, but I think our intent when we were talking about it before was that, can I lease out my property to others, or can I store boats on my other people's boats on my personal property?
No, I think we've effectively managed that. It's just,
yeah.
In my immediate area, I've got 3 and 4 boat lifts. and you can't say who owns what, you know? So
Right.
it's,
So if we went with that, we would probably want to go back and add a definition of immediate family.
well, see, that's where I don't want to, I think we're going too far then.
All right.
Well, I mean, immediate family is spouse, children, parents, and siblings. But that also includes, step.
Yeah, but for kids, then it becomes another family when you're at my age. Or, that, okay, now I can have my daughter's boat there, or two daughters' boats there.
What if we struck immediate family and made occupant plural?
Occupants. I like occupant, because that to me says you live there. That's great. It's a moot point. I don't want to make a big deal out of this, so I'm gonna be quiet.
Well, Kathy, you have any thoughts?
Nope.
I'm not trying to make you talk too much since you said you're.
No, the only thing is, I don't know, Bruce, I'm sure you're gonna let the people know about what was discussed at the LWRP meeting as far as definitions goes, and this is part of it, I guess.
Well, this isn't a definition since we aren't gonna add.
Oh, because you were talking about having family as a definition or occupant as a definition, so.
Well, we talked about that, but occupants doesn't need defined.
I like occupants.
And since you're on the topic, I was able to share the definitions with the LWRP. Okay,
So are they gonna take our definitions?
I don't know, but last
Because you
I,
might want to give the people a heads up what's going on,
well,
the planning board.
if we can pause for just a second, the LWRP is asked to look at our definitions because they don't want their definitions to conflict with our definitions. And I was able to share our definitions.
I think that's excellent.
So they have our definitions. And they were, Sharon has them, Sharon Lello.
I like that. That's a great idea.
Oh, what they had said at the meeting that they might take our definitions and review them and change them so they can all be the same across zoning, planning, everything, because they're the lead. They're the lead.
They're the
on all
lead,
this.
the LWRP, they're not the lead on this.
No, that's not what they said. So on the lead for the definitions, yes.
Well, I disagree.
Well, that's okay. You gotta take that up with Sharon then.
I will talk with the lawyer and find out, okay?
Okay.
All right.
So are we suggesting just occupants?
Like it.
Okay. And that brings us to 141-10.
I like the red myself, whoever how about limit to marina? I don't know why we would be storing junk boats on residential properties for any reason.
I agree, but for the state code, which allows one junked automobile, which I can't figure out. Why would we want to go further than that, right?
So
the other thing, I did look at the code for marina topic and boat launches. What is it, 120 or is it whatever our dock and mooring law is, and there is a discussion about that there'd be no inoperable or wrecked boats. They use the term boats for more than 1 year. So we are kind of superseding that. And that would be, I wrote it down somewhere here.
It's in Dr. Maureen's 88, I forget.
Yeah, it's 190-41. You might want to just peek at some point.
$41, Mark?
Yes.
Would you repeat that number again?
190-41 uses the term boats, and it basically, I'm paraphrasing, says you shall not have a boat for more than 1 year.
190-41 reads as follows: boats which are not seaworthy or which have been abandoned may not be left in public view for more than 12 months.
So if they're out of public view, they can hang out forever?
Basically. All right, so how, let's work on this wording. How do we change it to say what we want?
I think if you just forget all this beginning saying no owner occupant and just say marinas who wish to store unregistered or junk boats, just say marina.
Okay, marinas who wish to store. So marinas who wish to store or allow unregistered junk or inoperable watercraft or marine equipment on their property must maintain such items in a neat and orderly fashion out of public view from public.
Maybe just like marina storage.
Marina storage of unregistered junk or inoperable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So marina storage of unregistered, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. I can live with that. Bill, we haven't heard much from you, Mr. Cadway.
No,
I'm sorry, Mr. McKee. I'll get it. It's been a long day.
1 billion.
I'm right with you.
We're babysitting a 9-month.
Oh, my.
Oh, God.
All right. The next highlighted area would be 141.11A1. Placement is subject to the discretion of the CEO. I think we all aware of the controversy about the dumpsters for Jack's being moved over back across the street where
I don't understand that.
Tom had put them there, then he brought them back because people were aghast. And now that the Evans have it, they moved it again.
It's so long. It's a long way to carry garbage.
It's a long way to carry garbage. I understand we don't want it right next to her building, but you know, I think that's why placement subject to the discretion of the CEO is important.
Yeah.
Why?
I agree.
I question why we don't say that the permit needs to state the location.
It does. It says the intended location.
So
So,
I just think we're putting too much on Kevin, myself. I think that he's going to be under a lot of pressure.
well,
Isn't that why he gets paid the big bucks?
Kevin,
Okay.
you get the big bucks.
That was a joke.
what we have is the permit application shall identify the size and intended location of the dumpster, roll-off trash container, or portable storage container relative to the property lines. Applicants must indicate the type of materials, garbage, or refuse, or construction waste that will be collected and or stored. So there's a lot.
Yeah, you've given teeth to Kevin there, so I guess I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
So Mark, are you saying for them to come back and get a permit to put the dumpsters for like restaurants and things like that to come back to the planning board for it?
Well, I think that the number 3 is dumpsters for continuous use of collection of garbage.
Right.
Maybe issue permits for up to 1 year, additional 1-year periods at the discretion of the CEO.
so yes, I would need to come back and say, look, we're still, it's a routine type thing.
It should be, yeah.
And if you have a problem, when they come back to renew, that's when you solve the problem, right?
Right, right. So that would take some of the pressure off of Kevin. Or the CEO rather, not Kevin.
But is Kevin the sole issuer of permits?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really taking it off.
No, but it gives him leverage. You know, once he approves something and then it's being abused, then he has some leverage when they have to come back and renew.
I agree.
All right. Anybody else?
So we would not include under number 1, that final line. Placement is subject to the discretion of the CEO. We would let that become self-operative.
No,
I would leave it.
You would?
I would
Okay.
leave it.
Okay, I'm asking
Yeah.
the question.
No, I would leave it.
We'll put a period at the end there. That's
thank you.
I guess I ask in question 4, how did we get to a dumpster enclosure?
Number 4. You're
under B, Mark?
B4, yes.
oh, thank you. How did we get there?
Right.
Well,
how did we get to reviewing, and who is reviewing? Is that in site plan?
that's a good question.
I mean, clearly, we kind of got stuck on this a while ago of existing versus proposed. I think if somebody comes in with a new restaurant, the planning board's going to ask, where's your dumpster going? Where's your dumpster enclosure details? That's a given.
Mm-hmm.
But an existing facility, is abusing it. They don't have a trash enclosure. We don't have any mechanism to make them get one, do we?
Well, if we throw the word all permanent dumpsters, then that's inclusive of everybody.
I like that.
Yeah, number 3 under A, Mark, doesn't that suggest that those are the dumpsters that you're talking about? Those for the collection of garbage, issued permits of up to 1 year. And
Right.
if they
Right.
don't have a permanent enclosure down in B4, doesn't that become an issue
And
upon renewal?
an intended location up in 1. You gotta identify where you're gonna put it.
Because at one of the meetings I had asked, does this mean that like the dumpster that's by the village hall, will that have to be enclosed now? And the answer was yes, from the board. So I think that's what Mark was
But
asking.
the answer is not yes, because if you look at the paragraph between A and B, It says the provisions of this section A2
Okay, well, then that changed, okay.
will not apply.
But you would have to say it again for after B then. Because it's only about A2.
I'm sorry, you're right.
We would have to add that sentence in again.
Which sentence?
The sentence that says the provisions of this section shall not apply to the village of Sodus Point or businesses that require.
And where do you want to put that?
I'm just saying, if it depends on what our goals are. Do we want to have, you know,
So A2 talks about permit extension.
right, we would have to probably monitor or change that sentence if we wanted to exclude Sodus Point.
Bruce, if I can intervene real quick for you guys, you don't even have to put Sodus Point in any documents. We're immune to our own laws. You don't have to put us in anything. We don't have to follow any of our own laws. Just so you know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you don't have to put us in there. I'm sorry. I just wanted to answer that for you. You don't have to put us in anything.
All right, well, in 3, we say.
Are you pulling our leg?
No, I'm dead serious. The municipality is immune to all their own laws because we're home rule. We don't have to follow any of our own laws.
Dumpsters, number 3, it says dumpsters for continuing use, maybe issued permits of up to 1 year.
I don't know why you need that
I don't know
paragraph after.
that's what I'm wondering. Do we even?
I think we need to get rid of it then.
Those businesses that require the continuous.
Sorry, Mark. Sorry, Kathy. You guys can unmute again. Sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you.
That was a misclick on my part.
I mean, I take that right out.
Yeah, especially if we know.
Everybody to have to come.
Yeah, otherwise we're contradicting ourselves.
Right.
Okay, well, let's take that out then. All right. Flipping the page. There's 141.13, we were gonna make but notice sub to B, so cross out the C there and make D C.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I would just ask, has Kevin read through all this enforcement discussion and is he buying into it?
I don't know if Kevin's allowed to comment right now.
Okay, that's a fair answer.
The next change is over on at the end of D on the next page there.
That's just
we capitalize the.
Actually, that's C.
now C.
It is now C.
Yes, it is now C.
Just so you know, I'm paying attention.
That, but for now on the next page for C2D.
Just uppercasing those two.
Yes,
That title of fee schedule.
What are we at for?
Towards fee and schedule.
In the very last line of 13, right before 141.14, Bill, that very last line, the words fee schedule are being changed to uppercase.
right, then on the very back. In 141.15 D.
141.14, there's an S that was
Yeah,
crossed out.
141.14A.
Second.
There's
Yeah.
an S being added to the word continues.
I thought there was, and then I tilt the paper like this, and you can see it.
And it went away.
Gotta get new ink. We got blotches on there. Okay, 141.15 D. We got inoperable motor vehicle, watercraft, or marine equipment, or noxious weeds and growth highlighted there.
Are those words being added to the former language? Is that what's going on?
Yes.
Okay. I think we want to give that power to the village. That they can remove those undesirable issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathy or Mark, any comments?
No.
No comment here.
All right. Anybody have any other suggestions? All right, if there aren't any other suggestions, I will make the changes, get copies out to everybody. And if everybody's pleased with it, just send me a thumb, a yay or nay. If it's all yays, I will send it to the lawyer. And I told Kathy I would talk to the lawyer about the definitions anyway, so.
Mhm.
All right, I appreciate all the hard work everybody's done on this. I know it's sometimes seemed fruitless, but.
I think you guys have done the real hard work and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's going on long before.
I do have a question before we adjourn. Mark, did you ever get your question answered about the freshwater wetlands? The course that we took? If there was any we get any credit for that?
I did not. I think that
I will talk to Dave tomorrow. I gotta think that we're members of that, and as such, then we're entitled to
CLE or CPE, whatever, yeah.
right.
The other thing too, the village, if you put something in, just I know training credits, the village can accept anything they want as training credits. So even if we're not members and you guys say, hey, I went to this and it's for the betterment, they can just accept your whatever they gave you certificate as training credits.
So we don't need a certificate?
Problems with that in the past. When we were promised credits. And
right.
One trustee who challenged us on anything that wasn't on her little list.
Yeah, it just has to be noted in the board minutes, whatever they.
All right.
I don't know about you guys, but that was pretty high end stuff. I was.
I found it very interesting.
I mean, that's better than most of my engineering CE credits.
Wow.
So what does that mean? We get double?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it was good. It was good stuff. I don't agree with all of it, but it was good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm afraid I'm fooled.
Should we have a motion to
I'm looking
adjourn?
to adjourn.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I got a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried. Good night, everybody.
Bruce, remember to keep that computer open for tomorrow.